Here's a suggestion. I gave this to a salesperson that I'm working with. He's working at one of the car dealerships here in town. He's just struggling with his sales and his mindset and how he's thinking. And I had him do that exercise that we did here, except I had him go into in depth on it. Just spend some time, write down literally every single word. Don't value it, don't do anything with it, just write down every word that you associate with sales. Then, once you have all of that done, go back through and find all the negative words. Draw a line through the negative words so you can still read it, but then write above it or right next to it a positive alternative to that word. And then have that posted somewhere and review that on a regular basis, because what that does is it retrains your mind on how you think. Because there's 3 steps, and they're very simple steps. They're not easy to do, but they're very simple steps on how you literally can change the way you think. The first one is to be aware of what you're thinking. And we're going to kind of go into that a little bit this morning, but the first step, and it's on there. So if you look at the previous week and that mental models process, you'll see that whenever I went through it, it's the event, right? And the event triggers assumptions and interpretations based on past experiences.
Okay.
And then because you have those assumptions and interpretations, you create meaning, either positive or negative, which then leads to your decisions to an anticipated outcome. And then it cycles like that the whole time, because your anticipated outcome then triggers a new experience that you then interpret and assume and create meaning and so on and so forth. So if you are aware of what you're thinking at a given moment, which is the hardest part, most people are not, they don't pay attention to their thoughts as well because we're not trained to. But if you're aware of it, you could then take the next step, which is reframe it in a positive and plausible alternative. It has to be plausible for your brain to accept it. Here's a little side note too. Neuroscience has shown that what your brain hears, it believes and processes as fact. Because all it is just processing information, right? All those neurons and the neural activity that's going on is just triggering processes. So if it hears something, it believes it is fact, that it's real. So if you're telling yourself things out loud, it will accept those things as fact. So if you reframe those words in a positive and plausible alternative, your brain will start to accept those as fact. And then you have to, which is the third step, accept it as real and live like it's real. So like, and I use the phrase a lot, live into it. You have to live into the truth of what you're reframing. So that's a little recap from last week, I guess. So it's great. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's really one of those things that whenever it hit me, and I had that realization of, okay, I have mental models and ways that I view the world that impact how I engage and create my world. And it shifted in me a few years ago, a whole different perspective on how to help people experience freedom from those traps, essentially. So